You're watching the Power Hour. The Power. With DJ Larry Jones on Indie Central TV.
All right, you know what time it is. It's time for the Power Hour. I'm your host, DJ Larry Jones, a.k.a. Mr. Important. If you don't know me, then you don't know anybody. And I have a very, very, very special guest joining me today. Now, she definitely exudes Black excellence. And you know, there's so much I can say about her and all of her accomplishments, but, you know, it will be here all day, and that'll probably take a biopic to do that. You know what I mean? Let's just jump right into it. Ladies and gentlemen, the lovely, the very beautiful and talented Miss Melba Moore. Melba, how are you?
Fantastic. Thank you so much for having me and sharing me with your audience.
Thank you so much for doing it. You know, it's a pleasure having you on. First off, I want to thank you for joining me today.
Pleasure.
And you look absolutely amazing. Now, what are you doing? I mean, because you look amazing. What are you doing?
Oh, no, you don't want to get religious, do you?
We could, yeah, we could. We can.
You know how you people can get.
Yeah, right.
But you know, it's funny. You can say all the things you want to about the Lord, but I think the most powerful thing is for people to say, "What are you doing?"
Right.
You must be doing something.
Yeah. What is it? Diet, exercise, and all of that good stuff.
Yeah, God has to be your lifestyle.
Right.
Yeah. It's for everybody, but it's particularly true once you get past 50. Let me put it that way.
Right.
Because things they want to break down, but they won't. It's just like, I guess it's like puberty in a way. Uh-huh. Your system's changing. You have to kind of
It does change.
They don't stay the same. So
you can't eat the same after a certain age. You can't eat the same, and I know I can't. You know, and I know my audience is probably like, "Oh, here he goes again talking about this," but I have to say it. You know, by me eating the wrong things, I had a heart attack last year.
Okay, but when there's something like that, you really should say it because you'll save somebody else.
Yeah,
we think I don't know, especially because physicians until we made them, didn't tell us anything about nutrition. In some cases, they didn't know anything, and I think that was on purpose so they could sell you drugs. By the time they get the drugs and the things that you need to heal you, but it also brings side effects.
It does.
And if you could prevent it, well, then you look cute too, But I think that's the way God wants it. And, I'm a real student of that, and I'm glad you asked. And I think, because of Adam and Eve, it starts with food.
Right. It does. It does.
We can talk about something else if you want to, but now.
No, I love talking about this, but, it's so much we're going to talk about your life and your career and everything like that. Now, if you could, would you do a biopic? I mean, I'm pretty sure.
What's a biopic?
Well, when they do a movie about your life and how
like a biopicture?
Yeah, right.
Like a movie?
Like a movie, yeah.
Like what we used to call them?
Now they get all fancy now, biopic, right?
Well, I guess it's just short,
Right. Would you do one? And if
absolutely.
You did do it, who would you get to play you?
I don't think that would be the question. It would. I want to know who's going to direct it.
Right.
Or who's going to write it.
Uh-huh.
Because we have some incredible people in that field just in the last 10, 15 years that have been coming up through the ranks. Say like Lee Daniels,
yes.
I'm trying to think, Tyler Perry. There's several. Did you see the incredible Felicia Rashad in TikTok?
I did.
Okay, who did that? You can do my story, all right?
Yeah, but you can pretty much play yourself because you're an amazing actress.
But you're only talking about who's going to play it.
I mean, that would be a big part of it. I mean, who's going to cast it?
But it's the last part.
So you have to first get it all together, and then okay, I got you.
But you know what? That's a good thing, DJ, because what's happened is in our time now, we've seen so many wonderful pieces. We just okay, well, who would play it? We kind of skip to that,
right? Because everybody wants to know.
Our writers and our producers have basically been in slavery.
Right.
If we wanted to do something, there was no outlet for it. If we wanted to do it and there was an outlet, you couldn't raise the money for it. If you raised the money for it, somebody wanted to do it, but they want to take the credit for it.
Yes.
So, let's say kudos to those people that have broken through and we see their work now. But that's not all that long ago.
Right. Right. Now, you know what?
And then the way I came into the industry, like totally ignorant, I've just learned how to say that. Okay, well, who's going to write it? Because we didn't have any writers.
Right. Now, you know what? I kind of want to give you your flowers. You know what I mean? Now,
I'll take them now because time is ticking.
I have to, I have to give them to you. Like you said, you came into the industry. Coming up, you know, as a young woman, did you always know that this is something you want to do, be an entertainer?
No, because just like many families, but especially African American families, family was broken. Single parent mother, father wasn't there, but and my mother's trying to take care of me and her mother. And that's kind of almost typical, especially back in the day. And, you know, she was from Birmingham, Alabama. She came up north, like so many of us did. But before that, you know, we were slaves. So,
right.
And we came into our own two broken families. Because that's the first thing that happened. They destroyed the family.
Right.
And the morality that goes with marrying and having a family. So that's important to me. Because God created us to be that way, and you're supposed to have sex after marriage and all those things we know,
right.
But that's not how we started out. So a lot of other things were either battered or missing, and so I'm kind of typical like that. I started my life in New York City. My mother was a professional singer, so fortunately I got it in my genes, in my DNA. But you know, back then when I was like 4 or 5 years old, I never heard of DNA or genes or anything like that. However, she did send me to a Catholic school. So you started out with religion, but not only that, now since I'm a born-again Christian, I've studied. And the reason that's important is because the Catholic religion is the religion that Jesus Christ started. So you want to go where the authenticity is. And all of the relics and all of the physical evidences that you hear about and see about in all the other Christian religions and you see in the Bible are still there.
Right.
That's important to me. I didn't get to go to Israel or Rome yet, but when I go, I want to see what he left.
Right. I've always wanted to take that trip as well. I've never been to Africa either. I would love to go to Africa
as well. Yes.
Yeah. Have you been? Have you been to Africa?
A couple of times, yeah, but I need to go back a lot.
I bet it's amazing over there.
And it's a huge continent, so there's many countries there to go and visit. But so no, at that time, my mother was away, so I mean, working, trying to take care of us. So there was no music in my home, none. But my mother married a piano player, and he lived in Newark, New Jersey. And so now he had a son and a daughter. So now I actually have a family. His music is now the centerpiece of our lives. And since he was a piano player, he made us all take piano lessons. Not that we would become piano players, but that's like a basic instrument. When you learn music, you learn the rudiments of music. And he knew everybody should learn music, whether they're going to be musicians or not. That should just be the centerpiece of your life. And music, you everybody sings together and has parties, and just communicating with you. That's what a family is for. So I was already 10 years old before music came into my life. And usually, if you were the instrument, and you are, if you're a singer, this is the voice, at least by 3 or 4 years old, you can sing. Somebody's around and going to say, "Oh, look, she got a voice." No, I didn't hear that until way. I'm at a late starter with everything.
Now, when did acting come into play? Because, I mean, did that come before singing, or because it's like second nature to you? When I watched you in Pearly, which I want to talk about in a few, but when did acting come into it?
Very, very, very well. Kind of late. Yeah, I'm my first profession is a public school music teacher. So I did that for a few years first, because the parents said, since they were both musicians, we want you to get a real job, get an education, and get a real job. And then after I did it for 2 or 3 years, I said to my dad, "Okay, I did that, and that's your dream. It's not mine. Would you help me please get into the industry? If it doesn't work out, I'll come back and teach." So he started taking me around to people, and one of the first people I met was Valerie Simpson in somebody's music office on Broadway.
Right.
I'm sure it was the Brill Building or one of those that had all the different agents and music publishers and different types of art types of things in those buildings. There were actually buildings that had just music in them, different kinds of areas of music, publishing, whatever. Probably ASCAP was there, I don't know. But anyway, we were out in the waiting area waiting for our meetings to start. And we just started talking with each other. To make a long story a little bit shorter, we exchanged numbers. She asked me, did I read music and would I be interested in doing studio work or backup singing? So that was my entree actually into the industry. Mm-hmm. And I got my first Broadway show actually from singing in recording studios with Nick and Val and other background singers on this particular date that I'm skipping to. Mm-hmm. We were getting ready to do backup for Galt McDermott, who wrote the music for the Broadway show Hair.
Right.
And he was being accompanied by Jim Rado and Jerry Ragney, who wrote the script and the lyrics for all of the songs, but they were also the two stars of the show. So they were still casting. And they still needed some strong Black singers. Mm-hmm. So they asked everybody on the recording session if they would like to come down and sing for the director and the producer to audition for the Broadway show Hair. I said yes, and that's how I got my first Broadway show. And I stayed in it for a year and a half. By the time I left, I wound up with the female lead, and the lead just happened to be Diane Keaton.
Right.
So there's a series like, God don't have no accidents, incidents, but that's how it happened for me. I didn't have an agent or manager or anything like that.
Right.
And I didn't study acting. I didn't know what I was doing, but obviously I was being led.
Yeah, but like I said, it was like, it looked like second nature, like you were so comfortable doing it.
I think it is.
Yeah. Yeah. And I want to talk about Pearly because I watched Pearly yesterday for the first time. And that right there was so good, man. I mean, you had an all-star cast, Sherman Hemsley. I mean, how did that role come about? And what was it like working with those guys?
Oh, you have two wonderful questions that I love to talk about over and over and over and over and over and over. I came to get the role. Like I said, I was in Hair for a year and a half, and one of the girls in this show, one of the Black girls, said, Melba, the way you got this show, you didn't really audition. You were just doing the background session. They liked your personality and your voice. And you kind of really learned on the job by getting into this show. But now that you're on Broadway, you should start going up for auditions. And even if you don't get the parts, at least learn how to audition, what the rules are, how to audition.
Right.
So she had been auditioning, and she told me about auditions for Pearly. And she told me, try to go and look like the part and find out something about the role. And she called it typecasting, see if you're the type she can give me some of the language. And so I went down to get it. But the reason I got it is because I told you my mother was away, my dad was absent. Mm-hmm. But the lady that I was raised by, that I was most like, because my grandmother was there, but she was an invalid and she had strokes, so she didn't speak. Mm-hmm. So not only I didn't learn anything from her, but I really don't know the rest of my family because the grandparents are the ones that pass it on to you. Mm-hmm. But the lady that raised me was from the backwoods of North Carolina. She never learned to read or write. She was a cotton picker, cotton chopper. Mm-hmm. So she was beyond country.
Right.
So I was just like her when they told me to lapse into it. Oh. So they thought I was acting. I was just being Mama Lou, who raised me.
Right. Wow, that's interesting. So you just, okay. So now when you meet the cast and you see all of these guys,
right, the cast.
What went through your mind? Because it was so hilarious. I enjoyed it. I didn't get a chance to finish watching it, so I'm going to finish tonight, but it was amazing. What was it like working with those guys?
Well, first of all, they were family. Sherman Hemsley he's just hilarious.
Yeah, God bless him.
He is, right? He would do imitations. He loved singers, so he would always be doing imitations of Carmen McRae, or I would be dying. But besides being hilarious, he was always high.
Yeah.
So, he had that aura of not like quite being all there, but in some funny place all the time.
Yeah. He seemed like I wish I would have met the guy, because he seemed like he was hilarious.
but a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful person as well. Let me say that about. Let me bring your attention to Linda Hopkins, who plays the gospel singer, and she sings "Walk Him Up, Walk Him Up." Okay, I remember that. And Joyce, I can't think of the last name. We had a black lady conductor, and she was awesome. Who else was it? Cleavon Little played the role of Reverend Pearlie. Did you ever see the old movie Blazing Saddles?
No. I've heard of it, but I've never seen it.
You got to go see that. Well, when you see Pearlie, you'll see him too. He's just kind of tall and gangly.
Yeah, I know who he is.
Oh, you know who he is.
Yeah.
He's funny looking, but he's cute. He's handsome, but just so sweet. It really helped me learn the process of acting during the job. But the lady that played Aunt Missy, her name is Novella Nelson. A lot of people, well, if you see the video, someone else is playing the part, so you don't know who Novella is. But she did so many Law and Orders. She's on there all the time, some of her reruns. And she introduced me to Clifton Davis.
Right. I was going to ask you how'd you guys meet? So that's how you met.
I'm sure he came to see the show and everything, but they were close friends, and so we would go to Novella's house and play cards and games and just socialize and be together. So that's how I met Clifton. But that was important because down the way, he was down the road in the Broadway show Hello, Dolly, that was then starring Pearl Bailey and Cab Calloway, and also incredibly, it tickles me to think of it, the incredible talent that was there. It was ridiculous. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, you guys must have had an amazing time. Now, you and Clifton had a variety show as well, right?
I was going to say, that's kind of how it came about, because he went from there to Two Gentlemen of Verona to be the co-star of that show. So he was becoming a star, and he was offered some television, and I was offered some television, and he told them, well, Melba Moore is my fiance, my girlfriend. He said, that's how the idea came for us to do something together.
Right. Now,
so we actually played a couple on our show.
Yeah, I know. The chemistry was amazing between. Now, back then, we had the black plays, black television shows, and it was the early 70s. What kind of backlash did you guys get from the white corporate? I mean, none at all.
I mean, individuals, certain things is racism and stuff, but I think I was the first black actress to be nominated or get a Tony Award as supporting actress in a Broadway musical. And I know I don't know what they were, because I didn't know what a Tony Award was until then. But from what I could hear, they really arranged things, for instance, so that I wouldn't be up against Lauren Bacall. Because I think they probably wanted to give me, a Best Actress.
Right.
But first of all, Cleavon was a star. And he got the Tony Award for that. But I know there was some rearranging and stuff, so it wasn't so much black backlash. There was a lot of racism because of Philip Rose, who was the director and the producer of the show, produced many black shows that opened the way for black people on Broadway. So, I mean, we had trouble getting a theater. We changed theaters 2 or 3 times. So there was racism. So I can't say that there wasn't. But in terms of what you would get in terms of backlash as a result of having done it, and then you get backlash.
Yeah, right.
It didn't really quite happen that way. I don't think. Once people just embraced the show, and the first people to the air conditioner is making my everything tear. But the first people to come to see the show were white people, so they really made it a hit. And once it got into previews, and Philip was able to kind of like market to the black audiences, because we didn't go to Broadway because there was nothing there for us to see.
Right.
Then we had, black audiences. So I can't recall that kind of backlash. Nobody tried to shut us down or. That's
what I would have thought, because you guys you guys were killing it back then. So I would have.
We got a lot of help then.
Okay.
It was just the opposite, I believe.
Right. Now, like I said at the beginning, you've done so much in your career. If you can go back to your 18-year-old self, 25-year-old self, what would you tell yourself?
Learn business.
Right. That's important.
Learn to count your own money.
Mm-hmm.
Because at that time, okay, when starting out, if someone had taught you that, or if we knew that, even though there weren't any black managers or agents, you could have still been in control of your life if you knew how money and finance worked, in my humble opinion.
Right. Right.
I mean, that's not necessarily going to keep people from cheating you.
Right. Yeah.
We have a few people, not too many, like Ray Charles, like James Brown, maybe, I'm not sure, Little Richard.
I believe Little Richard as well.
Who understood how that worked. And
right.
So even though they had difficult times, they owned their own catalog.
Mm-hmm.
Many other things. I didn't know what a catalog was. Well, I knew a lot about teaching school because that's what we were focused on.
Right.
And
right.
my parents, although they were artists, they were self-taught. They learned on the job. They were not really blues artists. They sang or produced or played pop music. They worked mainly for white people and in white bars. So they were kind of automatically crossover. Mm-hmm. And they basically managed themselves, but there was not any ready information about how to learn to be in control of your own finances.
Right.
I mean, they booked themselves a lot, but they were always, getting somebody to help them do that. And because especially since they all mainly worked in white places, you had to have a medium, someone to mediate you.
Right.
So they had types of agents, but now we have an entrepreneurial spirit.
Yes. Yes.
One of the first things we teach everybody, and especially like now since the pandemic, mm-hmm. we have all kinds of, everybody got shut down. So if you can't get your money, you can't get no groceries.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
But one of the things we're teaching everybody is how to do your own business, not just entertainment.
Yeah, that's why they call it the music business.
Well, they called it that.
Business.
Perhaps it was for some people, but for us,
yeah,
catch as you can.
Yeah. Now, we can't forget all of the wonderful music you've given us over the years. And we want to thank you for that. You know what I mean? So much good music. I mean, I can name them all, and you just came out with a new song. And it's called Just Doing Me. Where did that title come from? What made you come out with that title, Just Doing Me?
See, there you go. They wrote it so well for me. You think I wrote it?
I thought you wrote it. Yeah, I thought you wrote it.
No, but it's written for me. And it's written by George and Angela Pettis.
Oh, okay.
Wonderful, wonderful artists and musicians. And they live in Texas, I think. Mm-hmm. But anyway, they brought me to their home. And everybody has a studio in their home, Yeah. And they sent me some songs, and we spent some time together. Mm-hmm. And they wrote this for me. And the first time that I heard it, especially after Terry Hunter remixed it, mm-hmm. sounded like a different song. Right. And it's not something like anything like I would have done before. And it had been quite a long time since we did it, and then they put it out. I said, oh, that's really nice. Who's that singing? Because it just sounded fresh and nice and simple. It didn't have no long high notes in it like I usually do.
Right. It sounds really good, though. It's really good. Yeah.
And I thought, I didn't know what the lyrics meant at first. I was listening. I said, Just Doing Me sounds kind of arrogant. But then what happened was, it's a whole new way of doing things. And before I could get a video done, everybody had done their own video. I even had a beautiful young man in a wheelchair, dancing in his wheelchair. I said, oh, I get it.
There you go.
Everybody's doing themselves. That's what the spirit of it was. I wasn't talking about me.
Wow. Well,
so what makes me excited about that, DJ? Uh-huh. That's the way George and Angela saw me.
Right.
And that's why you think I wrote it.
Yeah, that's why I thought you wrote it. I mean, but it was a pleasure to see you back out with new music. It really is.
Yeah.
Now, is there going to be more? I would love to hear a ballad from you.
I've got some ballads. Been in the studio recently with several different things. Yeah, and right now, because independent music is the way that everybody goes. It's Main Street. I have a lot of music from a lot of different incredible songwriters and producers. They're not tied down to one label or one set of producers. So I have several different things that I've already put on, on record. I've done them, and they'll be coming out as time goes. Yeah.
Right. Well,
matter of fact, I was in the studio doing an incredible ballad day before yesterday.
So when can we expect to hear some more music from you?
Oh, let me see. Oh, okay. Terry Hunter is working on something now, so that's going to be out pretty soon.
Okay.
Yeah. Like next month or something.
Well, I look forward to it. I definitely look forward to it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I thank you so much for joining me on the show today. That meant a lot to me. I've always been a fan of your work.
Thank you.
And always been a fan of you. And thank you so much, Miss Melba Moore. Thank you again.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure.
All righty.
some things along the way, and it's been a long, rough road. But I never lost my voice, I never lost my health, I never lost my praise, and I am still doing me. That's George Pettis on the piano.